You are listening to Offensive Lines with Marlon and Boyd. Small stakes NFL gambling for the average fan.
Welcome to Offensive Lines. I'm Marlon.
I'm Boyd.
And you've just been previewing some new opening theme music. I was kind of sorry I didn't.
Sure.
I wasn't recording already.
10-10 parlay. Nope, that's all you get.
All right. Well, if you didn't gather from that, that is going to be our betting strategy here in the Conference Championships pick show. We are going to bet $10 on each game, and then we are going to make a $10 parlay with our two picks. We are down.
That can always work out well.
It's kind of like hedging that and taking a shot, because we're down a little more than the VIG right now. We're down about $100, having wagered somewhere between $600, $650. So we're going to have to stretch, try to catch some money. We've done it before in the playoffs. We can do it again. And that little extra $10 parlay, if we have a nice weekend, we're suddenly back in the game.
See, the only problem I was thinking, as we were talking about it before, when we made the run to get back and turn a profit, we had the Giants we rode through the playoffs the 1 year.
And they
were underdogs.
The Niners, we took them straight up as dogs a couple of times, and they came through for nice cashes. So, yeah, it's going to be a more challenging road, but what can you do? That's why they call it gambling. That's why they charge vigorish. They're not interested in letting us just play for free. Heartless. Filthy lucre. Anyway. So just the two games this week, and I think we should mention, so next week, because there's the bye week for the Super Bowl this year, isn't there?
Yes.
So next week...
There is every year now.
Okay. We'll do our usual recap show. We'll record it Monday night. We'll post that Tuesday. And then we'll probably take it off until the Tuesday before Super Bowl.
Yeah, well, we usually do a Monday. We usually do two before the Super Bowl because we do our prop bets.
Right, yes.
And then we do our Super Bowl pick the next night. So, yeah, next week, unless something big happens, there's no point in doing two.
No.
Because there's nothing happening.
No, that's off-season fodder anyway. So, yeah, we're just going to have the recap show next week. Hopefully as we blow trumpets of victory.
Yeah, that's going to happen.
Yeah. With that attitude. Okay, on to the games. The first game of the weekend. Green Bay is +7 at Seattle. This opened at 7, moved to 7.5, back down to 7.
I see no way Green Bay wins this game with Rodgers limited.
That you hit it right on the head there. If it was a mobile Rodgers in this game, I'd be favoring the other side. But there's a couple of other factors, too. I mean, you've been saying all year that Rodgers is a different quarterback for the most part on the road. That works in our favor.
Yeah. And we have a game to look at this year, even when Rodgers was healthy. Granted, it was the first game of the year on the road, and they got beat by what, 15?
15 or 16. I thought was the number.
I think it was 31-16 or something like that. So they only scored one touchdown. Now, can Eddie Lacy carry the mail? Can he run against that team? Can they stop the pass rush? Dallas was getting close with 4. Seattle's better defense, better pass rush, better scheme, better athletes. I don't see how Rodgers stays upright for a lot of this game.
Well, the pressure will be important because one thing Carolina, for all its deficiencies on offense, was able to move the ball with some effectiveness in that game.
But they had to worry about Newton running.
They had to worry about Newton running, and that's why I'd be all over Green Bay if Rodgers were Aaron Rodgers.
See, I still don't think I would. Because he struggled on the road against top-flight defenses. That was your argument this year. The games he struggled were
top-flight defenses, and your argument was road. So we're kind of getting the double there. So I don't think it's any surprise which way we're leaning, but I think we should... How do we envision if this goes wrong? What happens?
Turnovers. They laid on the ground. That's the only way that Green Bay's close in this game.
Yeah, okay, that's a fair assessment.
Dallas almost beat them in Green Bay with a defense that was better than expected, but still bottom third of the league.
Yeah, very true.
They weren't a great defense by any stretch. You can run the ball on Green Bay, Marshawn Lynch,
and Turbin. They put in Turbin in a fill role, and by the way, he looked to have some burst too. So I don't think he's just an also-ran. I know that's his primary role, but if Lynch does go down or is wildly ineffective, I do think Seattle has a backup at running back.
Green Bay didn't have to worry about Romo scrambling. Russell Wilson can give him fits. I don't know how Green Bay holds up in this game at all. Rodgers healthy, they might be able to cover. That's even a stretch to me, the way they play on the road and how they score differently.
Okay.
The two good teams that Green Bay played at home, they won by the exact same fucking score. 26-21, they beat New England and Dallas. And against mediocre teams on the road, their scoring was half.
And New England and Dallas are fine football teams, but they don't compare defensively to the way Seattle's playing right now.
No.
Now, I don't think Seattle changes things regarding Marshall or anything. I think the dangerous receiver, based on what I saw with Carolina, is Cobb in this game. Cobb and Devontae Adams, guys who are playing the slot. That's where you're going to win. That's how San Diego beat Seattle.
But they
wasn't
were Seattle.
I think Jordy Nelson, I'd bet the under on Jordy Nelson as well, by the way.
They didn't have Chancellor or Wagner then either.
I think they had Wagner. I don't think they had Chancellor then.
When the defense was soft, when they struggled in the middle part of the year, they were missing two important cogs in their defense. That defense is playing as well as it did last year.
Like, Marshall can be beat by a slot receiver with a quick cut to the middle. Like, not for huge yards, but he can be beaten. So, if they put Cobb on his side of the field and just run cheap, almost red zone plays for the entire length of the field, I think they can move the ball.
Yeah, but that's the problem.
I think they will do that as well because of Rodgers' lack of mobility. That feeds into it because on that style of play, he can get the ball out in 0.8 seconds.
But he had all day against Dallas, and they only put up 26 points. When you have to dink and dunk down the field and do it every drive, it's rarely effective that you keep doing it drive after drive where there isn't a mistake.
Yeah, I mean, this is true. I mean, I'm playing devil's advocate a bit because that's the one player or the one strategy that worries me is just constant crossing routes in the middle of the field.
Yeah, but they would adjust to that too. They don't have to worry about a tight end. They can rush cheat up a save.
Yeah, they don't have Quarles is a non-entity.
They'll be able to rush for and get pressure, and you won't see Adams fucking going for a 60-yard touchdown against Seattle. Won't happen.
Well, that throw was
Cobb,
perfect. I mean, that just...
Cobb, maybe.
Cobb worries
but
me.
I can't
He's the
see
big
them.
guy. I think Jordy Nelson is almost shut out. Because he's fast, but he's not quick, is my opinion of him. And when teams focus on taking him out of the game, he is gone.
But
you just don't put him on one of
Seattle's not going to stand back 10 yards off the line. They're going to be playing up on these guys. They're not going to. Dallas was giving these guys 8-10 yards and playing zone.
Well, and to tell you the truth, with Nelson, I would as well. Because if he beats you in that initial move, then he's gone down the sidelines.
Yeah, they'll just roll a safety over, kind of like New England did with Torrey Smith.
Well, I'd prefer to see the safeties patrolling the middle of the field, because I do think that that's what Green Bay is going to try to do. It's
but
quick,
the line
short hitches through the middle of the field. Now, what do you think of
Well, we talked about this. No, but we talked about this in the Dallas, like before the podcast, about Rolando McClain going out. That opens up a whole lot in the middle. They've got Wagner patrolling the middle.
Yeah.
Those slants might not be open with him.
Well, and that's
middle.
what I think they have
They'll
to shut
complete
down.
some. They'll complete some. You're not going to shut down completely everything. But I don't think it's going to be as big a factor as you think with Seattle's linebackers patrolling that underneath.
Okay.
Unless they can really run the ball with Lacey early to suck those linebackers up and then go behind them with the crossing stuff. But I don't know how these Green Bay receivers are going to react to press coverage, because that's what they're going to see. Sherman will be on top of whoever he's covering. So, and Roger said he wasn't scared to throw to Sherman this week. He didn't throw at him when they played in fucking week 1. Who's he trying to fucking bullshit? I think he threw 2 passes to his way in that game.
Yeah, and they kept moving Jordy to the opposite side of the field. Yeah.
But to say it, he said it before that game too, and then threw, like I said, 1 or 2 passes his way. So with Chancellor and fucking Wagner, I don't know how. They're just playing defense beats offense. Rodgers has struggled on the road. Their whole team has. They lost to fucking New Orleans inexplicably on the road.
Well, no, the same thing. Rodgers got injured.
So,
Rodgers lost his mobility, and, that game looked like it was just going to be a back-and-forth shoot-'em-up, and then he got hurt, and all of a sudden he was a disaster. So, now, I just have one more question for you. What's your opinion on Lacey?
Well, he's a great running back. But if they know, well, they do know Rodgers is hurt and can't move particularly well, what's to stop him from run blitz? Just blitz like 5 or like do a run blitz and shut him down.
Yeah.
Green Bay's going to try and get him going early.
Yeah.
That's going to be their game plan, like they did against
Jonathan,
Dallas.
Jonathan Stewart did have a fair amount of success running the football last week. Now, how much of that was the option play, it's tough to say. The threat of the option play, that was a lot of the running there. But yeah, without a mobile quarterback, like I'm fairly confident in the Seattle pick, but I've gotten to the point this year where I'm just trying to see what could go wrong.
No, even if Rodgers was healthy, I couldn't see taking Green Bay. Just
I think if
Rodgers
were
on the
completely
road.
healthy, I think I would want to be on the points on this. But that said, I'm really happy it moved from 7.5 to 7.
Yeah.
That's a huge half point for us. I think we should book this right now in Seattle.
But I think it ends up similar to the way it did in week 1. Seattle by 14, 15.
And most of that late. I mean, that is the pattern of Seattle. We might be sweating this for 3 quarters, and eventually it in the fourth quarter, Seattle will suddenly start to put on a few points. They just battered their opponents into submission, which is good football.
Yeah. Well, I think Rodgers is on his ass as much as he's standing in this game.
It's a good O-line, though. I mean, I think what they're going to do is design the plays to minimize that. I don't think he'll throw a lot of Dallas. I don't think he'll throw. Yeah, but Dallas isn't Seattle in intimidation. They thought they could keep him clean, and that was proven even with a less effective pass rush by Dallas. But I think against Seattle, their game plan is going to be short stuff. So
that's not going to work. With the linebackers they have and the corners they have, those receivers are going to get killed if they try and run 8-yard crossing routes across the middle.
Well, there will be at least 2 drives that are decided by defensive holding or illegal contact penalties in this. Green Bay is going to get 10 points out of that. That's a fucking guarantee. No, Seattle will get the points out of that. Because Green Bay's defense isn't that good. I'm sorry. When they have to... Seattle, I think, will run the ball better, and they will get at the quarterback more. Unless the only way Green Bay has a chance at winning this game, and which the egos of these quarterbacks now, is to run the ball 70% of the time. The only way, and Lacey to have 150 yards. Yep.
How else? They got to keep Rodgers clean.
Well, I was just going to say before you brought that up, and we talked about this and the meaninglessness of this stat at points yesterday, but this is a game where time of possession actually matters. Right? If Green Bay can hold the ball away from Seattle, dink and dunk, without error, all the way up and down the field, that hurts. But I don't think that's going to happen.
But that's not their offense.
No,
that's not their offense.
And, I don't have a particularly high opinion of Mike McCarthy as a coach. So, no, I love our Seattle pick. I just think with only 2 games, we should look at what possibly could go wrong and try to envision that. Because if I can envision it usually never happens.
Rodgers can't extend drives with his feet. And he had a lot of... that pocket broke down a lot. He's not going to have 6-7 seconds on plays.
And I don't think they should have a play that takes anything more than 3.5 seconds.
But they're going to try and go deep. You know it. That's what they were looking at that whole game against Dallas, when he was bouncing around in the pocket and Dallas just couldn't quite get there. Then he'd settle for the 15-yard. You can't expect a corner to cover guys for fucking a nickel corner, especially, for 4 or 5 seconds, which is what he got in the second half, and they still only scored 18 or 16 points.
Yeah.
It's not like they fucking lit the world's ass on fire against Dallas's defense, and that was in Lambeau.
Yeah, at home against a much weaker defense.
I can't see him keeping this close.
No?
Not within 7. And I don't even think they would with Rodgers. Hell, the way I don't know why they're so different on the road, but their points scored on the road are half of what they were at home.
They had to have scored more than 15 on the road.
No, they scored over 40 at home and 21 on the average 42 at home and 21 30. On the road.
Wow.
21 on the road.
Okay.
It was like essentially half.
Okay, let's look at this just a slightly different way. Say they score 21, which, again, not all of those road games were against Seattle, though one was against Detroit, which is a hell of a defense. I can't think of other particularly prime defenses they played.
Minnesota?
Yeah, Minnesota's a good D. But even say, yeah, I do think Seattle can put up 28.
They lost to Buffalo?
Well, that's a great defense. No, okay, say they score 21. Can you see Seattle scoring 28 or more?
Yes. I don't think they scored 21. They put up 10 against Buffalo, 7 against Detroit on the road, and 16 against Seattle on the road in week 1 with Rodgers healthy.
Okay. And I can see Seattle
trend.
scoring.
How do you,
like, I do think...
It's not like they were missing weapons in any of those games. Like, any of their big weapons were out. They struggled against top-flight defenses on the road. Simple as that. They struggled on the road, period. But against top-flight defenses, they struggled mightily. Yeah,
it's 2. Let's book this one.
Okay. We have the Seahawks -7 hosting the Packers. $10 pays $18.69. Booked.
All right. And the second and last of 2 games. Indy is +7 at New England.
This game gives me pause.
Yeah. You notice I actually paused. I was waiting for you to take the first line in that one.
I just don't know what Indy is. And can they not implode in New England? They've been blown out twice in New England. Last year in the playoffs and this year in the regular season, I believe. And they did play this year, right?
Yeah.
I'm not hallucinating?
No.
And it was pretty much they got crushed?
Oh, it was like 22 points or something. It was 42,
and with no running game.
Something like that. And that was the single game of Jonas Gray where Belichick in Hates Fantasy will run him 31 times for 200 yards and then never use him again for the rest of the year because he's late for the meeting.
Well, okay. Now let's look at this logistically. Heron, they ran him 20-some times for 80 yards against Denver.
That's fine.
New England's,
I don't have a problem with that.
And 3 yards a carry is not great.
It's a high 3, and it's 3.8, and at least gives them the threat of a running back.
3.8. No, it's about 3.1 or 3.4.
22 for what?
It was 23 for 80 on the nose, I think. It's like 3.3. They were just using that to keep the heat off of Luck. Now, only receiver you really have to worry about that can beat you is Hilton. What's Belichick good at doing? Taking away your biggest weapon. I just can't see that Indy defense holding up. They fucking lit up Baltimore, and that Indy defense is no better. If Peyton Manning's fucking arm wasn't hanging by his side like a limp dick, that secondary's not playing like it did.
Okay, couple of things against that, though. One, New England came out with a kitchen sink game. They got 14 points on college boy tomfoolery by manipulating the offensive lineman and by running a wide-out lateral throwing the ball. I don't think New England lit up Baltimore for the most part. You take 14 points off of very brilliant but very non-repeatable coaching plays.
Yeah, but how many other teams would have done that?
That's true, but that's how panicked they were. Now, we talk about this every year.
There's no fucking way I'm taking Indy on the road.
+7?
No fucking way.
Oh, you see...
Marlon.
And you
Dallas
said it gave you pause. So
7.
this isn't the craziness you're implying with the way you're speaking.
Now, we talked about it in the recap. Or maybe we didn't bring it up in the recap, but during the game on Sunday. The secondary was cheating because they knew Manning couldn't throw. It was pretty... You and I saw it, that he couldn't throw. They were creeping up on that fucking line of scrimmage. You even pointed it out during the game. The safety was 8 yards deep against Peyton fucking Manning. Single safety in the middle, 8 yards deep. Fucking never happens. So, you think they're playing that against Brady? Where these corners are going to be
now either.
Who's covering Gronkowski?
Gronkowski is the issue, because I don't see a linebacker or a safety on Indy who can match with him. Then, LeGarrette Blount didn't even carry the ball. I don't even know that he dressed for the game last week. I think New England's game plan is going to be run some more. Just what they did to them the previous time. You'll do that, and then you'll have a play action, and Gronkowski will go in the middle, and he'll take 25 yards after contact. That said, New England's defense looked pretty fucking hapless most of the time.
Yeah, but they had to worry about a little more than what Indy's throwing at them. Moncrief, Fleener, Allen.
Actually, the Fleener-Allen two tight end set has turned out to be surprisingly effective. One of them is almost always open. One of them is left in to block. Usually Dwayne Allen, because he's much better at it. But Kobe Fleener has had some big games. Who in New England? It's New England's defense I'm really questionable about. So if you shut down T.Y. Hilton, I just think 7 is too much for a suspect New England team to
They can't run, and they have one threat at receiver. That was what was so shocking against Denver. That they couldn't shut down Herron to just be totally non-issue.
And New England couldn't shut down Justin Forsett, who admittedly is much better, but as long as you can't come at him, the offensive line played well against a far better pass rushing team, at least on paper, in Denver. That offensive line, after doing nothing, suddenly was able to completely shut down Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware.
Okay.
Who are New England's edge rushers?
I just have to say one thing. Who told me all year that Indy was a fraudulent team? I think I'm speaking to him right now.
A friend of mine.
And you're trying to make an argument for him now after they were destroyed
I'm trying to
against...
make an argument for him at 7 points. And we all know the NFL playoffs. There's a bullshit team that comes out of nowhere, catches lightning in a bottle.
But they don't have anything that's lightning, though.
All they do there's one, his name's Andrew Luck.
Yeah, but if there's fucking covered, what's he doing? Like, Denver put up no resistance offensively in that game. None. They were 3-and-out that whole fucking second half. The defense didn't get a chance to be exposed in that game because Manning couldn't throw. They're weak defensively. On the road. Do you think this is a lightning in a bottle team?
Part of me says yes, it is, simply to prove me wrong.
They're going to the greatest head coach we've seen in our lifetime and one of the top 5 quarterbacks we'll ever see.
But who can't throw the ball more than 15 yards.
Well, it'll be enough because Manning couldn't throw it 4.
That's true. It is an improvement.
So, I don't know how they account for Edelman and Gronkowski and the threat of a running game. Like, it wasn't like we talked about it during the game. Why wasn't Anderson getting the ball more? They were running the ball effectively against Indy. But Manning wouldn't let him he has to be the guy. It doesn't matter if he can throw, can't throw. can't scramble, can't do fuck all. He's still he threw it 40 some fucking times. 46, I think.
Yeah, Indy still doesn't have a credible pass rush.
Their corners are suspect.
Their linebackers are weak unless you know that the ball isn't going for you more than 4 yards. Yeah, no, you're right, and I was leaning this way, but god damn, I hate laying 14 points in 2 games. It's never worked out for us.
I know, but how can okay. Dallas beat them 42-7. It was essentially 42-0. They gave them a touchdown the last 3-4 minutes.
Yeah, New England doesn't
and New England thrashed them this year. So what has changed in Indy that leads me to believe? What have they done? What have they improved upon? I could see if they had 2 guys missing that were all pros on defense that are back now and they got a swagger. This has been Indy's fucking MO all year. Go in, win a game, look fucking great on defense, and then get fucking slaughtered.
Now, to support your point, it was Cincy and an absolutely hobbled Denver team. Yeah, no, I mean, you've swayed me over. I'm not going to go hard, but I'm much less comfortable with this one. The first
But you called them fraudulent all year, going back to last week.
I still think they're a bunch of fucking
Marlon,
jokes.
That's the league this year.
Yeah.
Shit teams, when they play other shit teams, and Denver never really looked great this year, did they at any point? They struggled all year. Yeah, they beat Oakland big. They struggled against Indy the first time. That was on us. That one, not recognizing that last week's on us.
Yeah.
Because we talked about something wrong with Manning. You brought it up first about a month ago.
I brought it up, but like I said, 2 of my big assertions ran head-to-head was that Manning is not fucking right and Indy is fraudulent. And I chose the wrong side in that battle. No, let's take New England. They can't get heat. I mean, and that New England offensive line actually did a pretty fucking good job against Suggs and Holy Nata.
I was just going to say, I don't remember his name. I didn't remember hearing his name, Nata.
There were 2 back-to-back sacks, and that was the only time Brady got hurt. And I can't name a defensive lineman for Indy. Can you?
No.
So, let's do it.
Okay, we have New England at home facing Indianapolis, -7. $10 pays $19.52.
All right.
That seems low for a plus 105.
No, it seems high. Oh, plus 105? New England is plus 105?
Shouldn't we be getting like 20?
There's a lot of fucking Indy money coming in.
Shouldn't that be paying like 20?
No, at 100 it pays $19.09.
Oh yeah. So $19.52.
Yeah.
Booked. Now,
unless we want to do a crazy hedge parlay and take Indy and Seattle on our parlay.
Or
as a wacky hedge option.
We could do a 2-team tease.
No, I don't want to tease because even if we tease New England to 1, if Indy is in this game, they're going to win it. I don't like the tease at all. They've still both got to win. If there's going to be a shocker, it's going to be an outright shocker.
No, can't see Gostkowski kicking a field goal and them comparing him to Vinatieri?
I like your vision there, but no.
Or Vinatieri?
I don't want to. I don't want to play the tease on this at all.
Why? It's a better play than the fucking parlay.
No, I think if we're
because we're not really hedging anything if we take Seattle and Indy.
But if we take Seattle and Indy, we've got that potential. Or we can just take Seattle and New England and try to hammer our money. And then we are kind of hedging each side of our parlay.
Fuck, the parlay with two fucking games just is... If we're taking New England and Seattle, we might as well play the hedge with the fucking tees.
That's not really a hedge, though.
No, because... I know I misspoke, but if we're gonna just parlay Seattle and New England, we'd be better off teasing it.
No, I
think
we're better off
-1.
in sticking with what we just argued about, that both of the home teams are going to win by 7 or more. I think we just parlay that, buddy. Make it a nice ticket. I don't want to tease, because the tease, let's face it, we've never done well on teases, and weirdly enough, if Indy isn't within 7, like, Indy's not going to lose this game by 3. Indy's either going to win this game or lose it by a bundle. I don't see it falling in that sweet spot.
So the tees would pay us $18.33.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's still all our eggs in one basket with both Seattle and New England winning.
Okay, let's.
I'd rather get bigger money and put all our eggs in one basket again.
Round robin, what the fuck does that? I don't even understand that one. Do you?
I think it's like a wheel bet in horse racing. One with either of the other. I could be wrong.
Round robin, 2 play parlays. It gives us +2, 265. Patriots are down to 6.5 on this one now. Why didn't we get 6.5 the last fucking bet?
So we just bet it, and now it's moved to... Oh, no, that could be part of the round robin. Try to get play. See what the straight game line is.
It showed up on the tees, too. Oh, what the fuck? Parlay option? What the fuck? Hang on here. Something's not right.
That would be hilarious if our $10 bet...
Why is it doing... I'm trying to do the parlay, and I'm putting in the straight parlay, and it's charging us 20. It's got to be the round robin thing we're doing.
Okay.
It
would be hilarious if our minuscule $10 bet suddenly changed the odds.
It just changed. The line odds or availability has just changed.
Fuck me. Well,
I think I can cancel a bet, though.
I don't think you can.
Just give me a second. Okay, so this round robin 2 play parlays, that's the normal one we normally do. Because the other one's straight, that doubles the bet. So you're betting on each game $10. Okay, so this is going to pay like $37 if it hits. So we're taking Seattle, same as our previous bet. Seattle -7 over Green Bay. New England -6.5, which is fucking huge.
That's weird. We could actually end up cashing and pushing on the same bets. That's crazy.
Yeah. So we have New England -6.5 at home against Indy. $10 is going to pay $38.50 or something like that. Bet is booked.
All right.
Yeah, $36.50 it pays.
So we are laying points in this conference championship weekend. We have Seattle -7, 10 pays $18.69. We have New England -7, 10 pays $19.52. And then, bizarrely, we have a parlay with Seattle laying 7 and New England laying 6.5. $10 pays $38.50. Did I get that right, buddy?
Oh, no, we got the Patriots at 6.5, dude.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
Oh, does that make you feel better? I don't know how I didn't notice it.
Yeah, you're usually all over me when the numbers change.
Well, it lights up, too. So we didn't even have to try and cancel anything. Oh, that's fucking sweet.
No kidding.
Whew.
All right. Well, that's all I've got to say for this week.
Well, that's good, because you got to stretch, because I don't have the thing open yet.
Oh, okay.
You started me too early tonight. That's your fault.
Well, I believe I called Sherman Marshall for most of the podcast, so just fucking shoot me in the brain.
Ooh, Richard Sherman?
Yeah. I think I might have. Terrible.
Kelvin Benjamin?
Yeah.
It's all right.
It was just a joke. I've been sitting here stewing in my own shame since the start of the podcast.
How bad should I feel? I didn't even notice. All right, if you want to check out the podcast, you can listen to it on iTunes or Stitcher for your Android device. On our website, offensivelines.ca. Follow us on Twitter at offensivelines for any updates to our blog posts or when a new podcast is available. Our personal Twitter accounts at OLinesMarlon or at OLinesBoyd, where you will see just as much New York Islander retweets as you will football. Facebook.com/offensivelines, and if you want to send us an email, it's offensivelines@shaw.ca. I'm Boyd.
I'm Marlon, and that was our pick show for the conference championships.
$10 parlay. $10 parlay. $10 parlay.
Generous fucking gamblers.